You know, Vince, something that fascinates me is that we never see you in the locker room, we never see you with the players, and yet you know the stories, and it's amazing to me. Did you ever hang out with the players?
I used to.
Okay.
Oh, well, first of all, when I first started, I wasn't that much involved in television.
Okay.
So I had plenty of time.
Right.
I'd be in the locker room, I'd hang out at the batting cage, and then I'd come up a half hour before, write down the lineups, and do the game and tell a story, whatever I might have heard. The last X number of years, I'm doing a simulcast.
Right.
So by the time I get to the ballpark, instead of going downstairs, I have to tape, I have to do a whole bunch of stuff. So that really has kept me out from what I used to do. I still know the players, but not well. And, you know, most of them I nod. Some might have an exchange. And there are some, you get to September, you don't know who they are.
I don't even know who they are, and I'm there every day.
You're on the airplane, and here they come, and you say, who is that?
Who's that guy?
You know? Yeah. But, yeah, I'm just not as close. The other thing, too, I think age is a factor.
Interesting.
When I started, I was the same age as the player.
Right, of course.
So it was pretty normal to hang out. Now, and they mean well by it, I understand, but they're always saying Mr.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Scully. Well, that means they're kind of holding you out here somewhere.
Would you prefer they call you Vin?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
But they don't.
Okay.
and I say, you know, hey, I'm, you know, but they say yes, sir. You know, and you say okay, you know. So I am different now. I've been removed by time or whatever, but I do try to keep up with them as much as I can.
Well, no, you know so many stories, and I remember when Blake DeWitt got his first home run, I had made him a DVD of the game, and he said, Maria, I'm so excited because I get to hear Vin talk about me. So it was really wonderful that, you know, he was excited to hear you talk about him.
Well, I'm fortunate that way. Again, it's because God is good. I've been here so long. I don't take myself seriously at all, take the job serious. But I know I was given a gift, and I've been allowed to do it for so long. I don't like to take bows because it's a gift. It was something that was just given to me, and so I can't stick my chest out and say, oh, this is great, thank you. No, so I'd rather stay back in the shadows a little bit more. But occasionally you hear something like that. I was told the other day, because I was having fun, partly out of ignorance, about Troy Tulowitzki's mullet.
Oh, yeah.
And that became a big story all over the country. It was crazy. What happened was I was reading a Denver paper, and they talked about a throw he had made from shortstop to first base. And they said it was almost as long as his mullet.
Right.
And I read that, and on the air, partly I do it on purpose. And I have a lot of fun with the fellas in the truck. And I said, mullet? I thought the mullet was a fish. And they howled, and they said, it's a haircut, it's a this. So
I wondered if they had told you that.
Oh, yeah, oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, and what they say, business up front, party in the back. You know, so, and Troy he asked for it, I guess.
He did,
and they gave him some kind of a tape. And so it's fun.
Yeah.
And probably having done so many no-hitters,
right.
I have always tried, when we get to the ninth inning, to ask the engineer, well, this is especially in radio, I would ask the engineer to tape the ninth inning so that if this fella, not necessarily a Dodger, anybody,
right.
I would put the date on there for the player so that if he has it, 25, 30 years later, he'll know exactly the day he pitched the no-hitter.
Yeah.
And with Sandy, I had done that, and when it came for his perfect game, I thought, what else can I do besides put the date on it? I know. I'll put the time on it. Now, time in a baseball game means nothing anymore.
Yeah.
There are no curfews, nothing like
exactly.
that. You know, no blue laws. I just put the time on. The reaction was unbelievable. People listening to the game thought this was the most theatrical, dramatic thing to put, and all I was doing was trying to help Sandy 30 years later.
Yeah.
So it's fun to be part of that, you know, yeah.
I know you have a relationship with a lot of the visiting broadcasters as well.
Oh,
you get together
sure.
with them and talk about stories from each team. And
yeah, what happens is someone moves in, and especially now that I don't go east,
right.
If any one of the eastern team comes in, I'd like to sit and have a cup of coffee with the fella doing the games all the time. And I find out it's kind of a crash course before the exam, but at least I find out something that I wouldn't have known. I try to prepare. I try to read the papers of that particular team for a couple of days in advance. If they're Western Division, then I'm fine.
Right.
But you know, if the Cubs come in here for 3 games and I haven't gone to Chicago and I haven't seen them, you have to do a little homework. So I'll talk to the Cub announcers too. Say, tell me about this, tell me about that. It's always fun to talk to somebody like Ron Santo.
Oh, I bet.
Because you'll say to Santo, tell me about, oh, they're the worst. Or, you know, he's so emotional. It's wonderful. And so that's how I catch up.
Now, can you hear people yelling up at you during the game, or do you notice that? Do you notice it from the fans?
Well, yeah, sometimes, yeah, people will holler, especially after the 3rd out of an inning and it's kind of quiet.
Okay.
My favorite
Is
story
this
about
the heckler?
Yeah.
Tell the story. It's great.
Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, and I guess it was my first year. And I was sitting there very prim and proper, and Red was on the air, and I was trying to learn, watching and listening to him. And there was a lady named Hilda Chester who was very famous in Brooklyn. She had a deep voice, and I mean, it sounded more masculine than feminine. And she used to wave a cowbell.
Oh, boy.
And she was really something. And anyway, this particular day was a quiet Tuesday afternoon, let's say, 8,000 people in the ballpark. And I'm sitting there writing whatever Red is talking about. I'm keeping score. And all of a sudden, this voice bellows out, Vin Scully, I love you. And I put my head down, and the crowd tittered a little bit. And with my head down, and she said, look at me when I'm talking to you. And that broke everybody up. But that was Ebbets Field.
Yeah.
That's how small it was. The relationship with the fan and the broadcaster or the player was really intimate, you know. Here, at certain times, though, people will holler up and you say, oh, hi, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much fun because we see the fans, and their reaction to you is always so nice.
Well, yeah, it's very pleasant. Yeah, I appreciate it, too.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, some of the reporters, it's interesting, we don't hear you in the press box. So
just as well.
No. No, and then we'll go into the other room and we'll hear something, or somebody will have the headsets on. Oh, Vin just said, and that we learn from you as well, because we don't even know everything. You always know the stories. How do you remember all of that? It's amazing.
Well, I have my notebooks that I bring into the ballpark because I can't read. What's that old line? The only thing I can keep in my head for over an hour is a cold.
I love that.
But I have a notebook, and I can look up on the Padres. I'll look up something on somebody, you know, that way. Yeah, I can't remember. And sometimes you don't know what you can remember.
Right.
You know, you're doing it, you're jabbering away, and something happens, and a bell goes off, and you say, oh, that reminds me. But you don't even know it's in there until that happens, you know.